You're listening to Coupled With, the podcast that helps you take the guesswork out of feeling seen, heard, and valued in your relationship. If you've ever felt stuck in the same arguments, struggled to stay connected, or wondered how to better communicate with your partner, you're in the right place. I'm Dr. Rachel Orlick, a couples therapist and coach, and together, we're going to make relationships make sense. Let's dive in. We're sold this fantasy from the time we start dating. If you just find the right person, someone who's secure, then finally the drama will stop. No more spirals, nights of wondering if you matter. You'll wake up every morning in a blissful cocoon of safety, and every hard conversation will end with forehead kisses and perfect communication. That sounds dreamy, right? Too bad it's a lie. Here's the truth bomb. That person does not exist. For you, not for me, not for anyone. Every single partner, no matter how emotionally intelligent, will get triggered. They'll shut down, they'll pick the fight, they'll miss the signal. And when they do, if you're clinging to the myth of the perfectly secure partner, you'll see it as proof that you chose wrong, or worse, that you're unlovable. I hear this from couples all the time. They say, if my partner were the right one, he wouldn't get so defensive, or she wouldn't shut me out. What they're really saying is, I want this to feel easy all the time. And who doesn't? But here's the kicker. Easy isn't the same as secure. Expecting them to be the same only sets you up for collapse. I've been there too. Early in my relationship, I thought if we were really meant to be, we'd never lose our footing. Every fight felt like a flashing sign that maybe I'd messed up in my choosing him. But what I've learned and what I've lived is that security isn't about never wobbling. It's about finding your way back to steady ground. Over and over and over again, even when it's messy. So in today's episode, we're pulling the plug on that fantasy. We're going to talk about why believing that myth of the perfectly secure partner leaves you chasing disappointment, and what actually creates the kind of secure love you're craving. And spoiler, it's not about finding the right person. It's about building the right patterns together. People tell me the hardest part isn't the arguing, it's the nothingness. It's the long stretches of silence that don't feel peaceful. The we're fine that actually means we haven't felt close in months. They describe sitting side by side on the couch, scrolling, smiling when necessary, but inside they ultimately feel like strangers. And then comes the thought, maybe if their partner was really the right one, this wouldn't happen. Others describe the opposite, endless conflict. One person always pushing, the other always pulling away. It's the same fight, it's just different details. Someone says, "You never listen." The other fires back, "You're too much." And around they both go until they're completely exhausted. And they'll say, if only he were less avoidant, and if only she wasn't so sensitive. Translation, if only my partner were already perfectly secure to be my perfect person. And honestly, I get it. I've had those same thoughts myself. Early in my marriage, I remember thinking, why can't he just know what I need? Why do I have to spell it out every single time? And there were moments that it felt like proof that maybe he wasn't the right one. Because shouldn't the right one just get me? But the truth is, even with training and awareness, I've missed his signals too. That's the emotional loop. It's longing for connection, hitting disappointment, spiraling into self-doubt or blame, then hoping again when things feel good for a minute. Couples describe it as whiplash. One day they're convinced they're safe and loved, and the next day they're sure that they're doomed. And underneath that roller coaster is just the same story. If only I had a more secure partner, the perfect person, then everything would feel steady. But here's what we miss in that pattern: it's not really about the partner being broken or not the right one or not secure enough. It's about how quickly our nervous system seems to leap into panic when closeness feels uncertain. That panic makes every small misstep look like a disaster. And because we've been taught to expect security as a finished product, we read these moments as evidence of failure instead of invitations to repair. So if you found yourself in that cycle, silence that feels like a canyon, fights that feel like deja vu, or hope that collapses overnight, you're not crazy and you're not alone. You are human. And the real problem isn't that you chose wrong, it's that you're living inside a myth that was just never true to begin with. The issue isn't that your partner isn't the right one or secure enough. The issue is that we've all been sold a false map of what love should look like. We're told there's a perfect highway called secure attachment, and if you're on it, the road is smooth, scenic, and free of potholes. And if you're not, you're doomed to keep crashing into the ditch. But love doesn't work like a highway. It's more like a trail system through the woods. Sometimes the path is clear and beautiful, and other times it's muddy, messy, and hard to follow. You and your partner don't need to be perfect hikers to make it work. You just need to be willing to keep finding your way back to the trail when you lose it. I often hear, if he were the right one, I wouldn't feel this anxious. Or, if she were more confident, I wouldn't feel so rejected. What's really being said is, I want a guarantee. I want my partner to hold the map so I never have to worry about getting lost again. And that makes sense. It's exhausting to feel like the ground can fall out beneath you. But no partner, no matter how secure, can guarantee you'll never get lost. If you demand that level of perfection, you'll always be disappointed. Your nervous system will keep scanning for proof: the sigh, the delay in response, the missed text message, and you'll make it mean you chose wrong. That's not evidence. That's fear talking louder than the truth. Here's the reality: security is created every time you and your partner circle back after a fight, every time you repair instead of retreat, every time you say, "That hurt," and the other person stays with you. The myth says security is about finding the right partner. The reality is it's about building the right patterns together. So when you catch yourself chasing the fantasy of a perfectly secure partner, pause. Notice that what you're really chasing is relief from the fear that you'll always be alone in the woods. The reframe is this: you don't need a flawless map holder. You need someone willing to walk with you, get muddy, and keep choosing the trail again and again. Here's where the nervous system comes in. When you feel distance from your partner, whether it's silence, a delayed text, or an eye roll, your body doesn't respond like, "Oh, minor blip, we'll sort it out." Your body reacts like, "Danger, abandonment, incoming." That surge in your chest, the knot in your stomach, the urge to fight or bolt, that's not drama. That's your survival system doing its job. Think about it. Your nervous system was wired long before you met your partner. If closeness used to feel unreliable or scary or inconsistent in your earliest relationships, your body learned to brace for impact. So now, even when you're with somebody who loves you, the smallest signal can feel like a start of collapse. It's not because your partner is failing, it's because your body remembers. I've heard people say, he only looked away for a second and I completely lost it. Or she didn't text back right away and I started to spiral. They feel really embarrassed, like it means they're needy or irrational. But this isn't weakness, it's biology. Your nervous system interprets the pause as a potential rejection. It sends up flares of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn before your brain even has time to fact check. There have been so many times when my husband goes quiet during a conflict and my chest just tightens, like I'm about to be left forever or there's going to be something incoming that I can't anticipate. And even though I know better, my body reacts first. That's what nervous systems do. They prioritize survival over logic. And until you realize what's happening, it's really easy to make a mistake of blaming your partner for your panic. Here's the paradox: the very thing you want, secure love, requires seeing those reactions for what they are. Not proof that your partner is unsafe, but proof that your nervous system is working overtime. Once you understand that, you can stop chasing the fantasy of someone who never triggers you. You'll still feel the spike, but instead of spiraling, you can start to name it and eventually move through it. So when your body screams danger at a missed bid, just pause, breathe, remember. This is your wiring, not necessarily your partner's failure. The shift doesn't make the panic vanish, but it cracks the door open, and that crack is where secure love actually begins. Not in perfection, but in recognizing that safety is something you build in real time. Let's try putting this in a contrast you can actually see. When the myth of the perfect partner runs the show, you get stuck on one path: the conflict loop. On this path, every misstep feels like proof that your partner isn't enough, you chose wrong, you'll always be the one carrying the relationship. It's heavy and lonely, and it keeps you circling the same fight. And here's how the conflict loop usually plays out: you reach for closeness, they miss it, or you pull away, and they chase harder. Both of you feel misunderstood. Emotions spike, defenses go up, and instead of repair, you end up in blame, withdrawal, and shutdown. And even when it quiets down, there's just no real resolution. It's just a temporary ceasefire until the next cycle starts to spin up again. Now, compare that with the other path, the connection loop. On this path, missteps still happen because, newsflash, you're both human. But they don't automatically equal doom. Someone pulls away, but then they come back. Someone misses a bid, and then you name it and it repairs. You still have conflict, but it becomes a bridge instead of a canyon. The difference isn't the absence of a rupture, it's the presence of repair. The couples that I work with often light up when they realize this. I've been told, I thought if we were still fighting, it meant that nothing was changing. And now I see it differently. That's the shift in the connection loop. The fights get shorter, the repairs are quicker, the nervous system still spikes, but they don't stay stuck there. The path changes from spiraling proof to building trust. And I'll be honest, the connection loop doesn't look like a romantic comedy pretty. It looks like pausing mid-argument, taking a shaky breath, and saying, I don't want to fight like this. It looks like circling back after slamming a door. It looks like awkward apologies and imperfect timing. But those messy moves matter. Every time you circle back, you carve a new trail moving towards security. So the conflict loop keeps you locked in that blame, waiting for the fantasy partner to rescue you. And the connection loop is the one that accepts imperfection and uses it as raw material for secure love. It's the same people, the same nervous system, the same messy triggers. The only difference is whether you demand perfection or commit to repair. That choice is everything. So let's make this practical. If you're listening to all of this and thinking, great, Rachel, I get it, but what the hell do I do in the moment? Here's the one thing I want you to try: pause and name the moment for what it is. That's it. Not fix it, not analyze it, just pause, breathe, and name it. So here's how it might look in real life: your partner sighs and your stomach drops. Instead of snapping back or shutting down, you take a breath and say quietly to yourself, okay, my system is flaring up. This feels like rejection, but it might just be a sigh. Or, I'm triggered right now. This doesn't mean we're doomed. The tiny acknowledgement keeps you tethered to reality. I do this all the time. I always feel like the next shoe is about to drop. So I've done this more times than I can count. My chest tightens, my thoughts race, and for a moment, I want to blame him for every ounce of my discomfort. And in the moment, that blame feels really good. The fantasies that are in my head make me feel righteous. But I know that if I continue down that path, it's just going to throw a bigger and bigger wedge between us. So when I pause and I name it and I can feel the difference, it takes me out of the story that he's failing me and back into my truth. The nervous system is reacting. And the beauty of it is that when you pause and you name it, you create space for what comes next. Maybe you choose to share it out loud. Hey, I'm flaring right now. Can you sit with me? Maybe you just ride it out until the wave passes. Either way, you've stopped waiting for your partner to deliver security and started building it from the inside of the relationship, one moment at a time. So don't overcomplicate it. Security isn't built on perfect scripts or flawless communication. It's built on dozens of small pauses and tiny acknowledgments. That's what rewires the nervous system. That's what shifts you from the conflict loop into the connection loop. Not giant breakthroughs, not unicorn partners, just messy humans who are willing to stop, breathe, and name what's happening before they spiral. You don't need a flawless partner. You don't need someone who never rolls their eyes, never shuts down, never misses a bid. What you need is someone who's willing to come back to the table. That's it. Security is not built on perfection. It's built on repetition. Miss, repair. Miss, repair. That's the rhythm of the heartbeat of real security. So if you've been waiting for your partner to magically be more secure, stop waiting. That's like waiting for the weather to change before you leave the house. Security isn't something you wait for. It's something that you create. And yes, it's harder than the fantasy. It requires you to notice the flare-ups, interrupt the spirals, and sometimes be the one to extend the olive branch first. But the payoff is when you stop holding your partner to impossible standards, you start seeing them differently. They're not the enemy. They're not the problem. They're another human with their own nervous system, their own triggers, their own messy repair attempts. And that means you can start noticing the evidence that they're choosing you. I've seen it over and over again when couples who thought that they were doomed find their way back. Not by erasing all conflict, but by refusing to give up afterwards. That's what separates collapse from connection. It's just the willingness to return. So security isn't passive. It's built in real time, one pause, one breath, one imperfect repair at a time. And that's way more powerful than the myth. Here's my challenge for you. The next time you feel yourself slipping into that fantasy, if only they were more blank, catch it, interrupt it. Remind yourself that security isn't found, it's built, and you're capable of building it, even if it's messy, even if it's slow. That shift is how you stop waiting for the perfect and start creating real safety right now. If you've been nodding along during this episode thinking, this is exactly what happens in my relationship, but I don't know how to stop it, I made something for you. It's a free 7-day email course called Break the Cycle. Each day, I'll walk you through simple steps to stop the same fight from repeating and start rebuilding real connection without shutting down, walking on eggshells, or trying to do it all perfectly. You can sign up at my website. I'll link it in the show notes. It's totally free. This isn't just about communication. It's about breaking patterns that are breaking you. That's it for today's episode of Coupled With. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to hit subscribe so you never miss what's next. And if you found it helpful, please share it with a friend or leave a quick rating and review. It really helps more than you know. And if you're curious about how we might work together or want more resources to strengthen your relationship, head over to my website, www.drrachelorlick.com. You'll find free tools, podcast extras, and ways to go deeper. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next time.